Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper. And guys, happy Sabbath to everybody that is keeping the Father's scriptural calendar. Today I want to tell you something that's been on my mind for a while. And I know I haven't produced content the past week or so. I've been rearranging the office around. It's going to be funny because it looks the same on film, but I'm actually moved the office from this wall to this wall and got lighting situation better and electrical and plugs and all this stuff. It's nice. And so I've been working on that. I got that pretty much about wrapped up. New Moon Day, we should be good to go. But today I want to talk about surviving the timelines. And I know that's going to sound crazy. I'm not talking about Marvel movies and all this crazy stuff. What I'm telling you is there's two timelines that's going on right now in this world. This is going to just hear me out on this, right? There is the actual biblical timeline that's going on. It's going on the Father's calendar in His appointed times. It's going on in real time, and it's not going to change. What is appointed and prophetically stated to take place is going to take place. Then there's this other timeline, and I see it going on, and it's man's timeline, and it's the New World Order, and it's this push to do all these terrible and heinous things. And I want to set a premise real quick and lay a foundation that's something that people need to understand is the reason why you're so stressed out, the reason why you're so torqued up, the reason why that there is no normalcy in life anymore, especially post-COVID years, is because that we are seeing something unprecedented that actually in the annals of history to now has never actually ever been recorded, I would say. And that is this. There is people that have parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and even potentially great-grandparents. So 5 generations of people alive, hearts beating right now in this world. They are all experiencing the same paradigm and dynamic that is going on in this world. That is an anomaly like no other. And let me explain. Take a person that was born in the 1800s. They grow up, the same technology, the same lifestyle, the same, pretty much everything is the same. That person has a child. They live through the Civil War. Although technology starts to rise, things are pretty much the same. Fast forward, that person's child lives on to the early 1900s. Some things begin to change, but not that crazy. The next person's born, lives further up into the 2000 era. Things begin to make an adaptation. By 2000 era, things have changed quite extensively. But by the time that 2020 rolls around, things forever change. Now, people that are experiencing this have seen, some people that's been alive possibly have seen all the way back to the first Great Depression. You have a 100-year window where you have tons of people alive that are children, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and potentially great-great-grandparents. And the problem is all these people are facing the exact problems right now that they've never faced ever before. They've seen wars, World War II, you name it, but they've never experienced what they're experiencing right now. 2020 was a massive economic world reset, you name it, reset on all levels. What's come out of that is even in my small little podunk town that I live in, they have facial recognition scanner on the side of the main street now. See it in Sevierville, Tennessee, or in Pigeon Forge in Tennessee. Other places around, I've started taking notice of it. And I'm sure it's happening all across the United States. Skynet in China is already operational and has been going on for quite some time. The digital ID, social credit score, vaccine status, all these things they're working on to close the lid on freedom. People don't know how to respond to what's going on right now because their grandparents, great-grandparents, if alive, their parents, and they themselves are all facing this crisis together at the same time for the first time. Usually, historically, in past generations, I would say even from the beginning of time, there has always been an ancestral understanding. No matter what color shade of the color palette at Home Depot your melanin is, for people that like to be a melanist, also known as racist. No matter where you come from economically, no matter where you come from tribally, ethnically, nationally, etc. One thing about it is that those that have lived in the past have always had predominantly 1 to 2 generational family members to be a pillar of understanding, of guidance, and of clarity of where they're at, what is going on, and how to deal with it. We friends in our generation have been absolutely knocked in the side of the head with a 2x4 when it comes to dealing with this right now. I have been observing this since post-COVID. About the first 2 years post-COVID, I was kind of in a lull. I really just didn't see it full of clarity. But now it is crystal clear, and especially consulting with elders, people that are approaching 90 years old, and people that are extremely up in age and gray of head and have seen many a thing. Have a consensus and agreement on what I've had a conversation with them. Now, just because people agree with you don't mean that you're right. If that was the case, there'd be a lot of people making the kingdom in the last day, when sadly that is not going to be the case. And unfortunately, I really shouldn't even laugh about it, but it's just the absurdity that people's thought process makes me laugh. But the realization that many elders, people that would be great-grandparents, people that are grandparents, people that are parents, my age group, and etc., and kids, that my own children, people are starting to take notice, everyone across the same board. And the problem is that we don't have a solution. And the reason I say that is because you know that it's written in Scripture that Satan would wear out the saints of the Most High. And in these last days, it is exhausting. Like, economically, people are absolutely drowning. And I don't want this video to sound morbid. I want to help make it clear to you and understandable why that we are in the current situation and state of affairs that we are in. Is that there is so many factors at play going on at the exact same time that it is bewildering to the mind to those that are trying to get a foothold back in life. One of the most obvious things that's showing this is the middle class is disappearing. Let me give you an example. It became crystal clear to me not long ago that I had a couple options of my own. I could sell my home, downsize, and move, and that way reset my middle class economic status. Otherwise, I could take a home equity investment, push the thing down the road 30 years and pay off my debts, and try to live as a middle class person, as I always have by the grace of y'all. There's only so many options for the middle class anymore. The other option is to work harder. And by the way, when you work harder, work even harder. Work a full-time job, work a part-time job, and have a gig work, and have a side hustle. This is crazy, but it's the life I've lived for many years, especially post-divorce. There's so many things that will happen to you that you never anticipated. People will do things to you that you never anticipated. And it just compounds the problem where we are today. And now we're at this economic impasse that very soon, I imagine, with certain last cards being played on the table, which I think that the government will do a fake alien invasion, especially with the rollout of AI, who knows what the atrocities that will be done, and robotics and etc., and replacing of human workforce. There is so much going on, and it is, I've said all this in the past, be it to lead to this, is that we have to somehow remember that the world we live in and the construct right now is completely different to anything people has experienced post-flood. The world we're living in and starting to go toward, in my opinion, is a world that looked a lot like in the days of Noah. except you just don't have the giants running around in full bore right now, and you don't have fallen angels standing here literally saying point and click to do stuff. But the technology is amongst us, and the know-how is amongst us, and the wicked wants to do it. So knowing we have to deal with these wicked people, and knowing that the walls and this prison grid is being put around us, we've got to survive the timelines. There's a Agenda 2030 and all these agendas that they're trying so hard to push upon mankind, and we have to survive these tentacles being wrapped around us. Digital ID, stabbing and jabbing you with this, and spraying us with this, and blah 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 blah, poisoning our food and our water. There's so much we have to deal with mankind and surviving that timeline. And then we have to survive the timeline that of things to come scripturally, the trumpets, the bowls of wrath. I mean, there's a lot of things that's going to be poured out upon this world, and we've got to be prepared for it. And never have I heard it being preached harder and pushed harder in society is the rapture. And on the other end of that is Satan's little season. And I'm like, well, if it's Satan's little season, let's get this over with. If we're really that close, let's just go ahead and wrap this thing up, folks, and call it a day, because I'm exhausted. And the problem is, we ain't even close. There is so much calamity about to hit there. Like, it absolutely confounds my mind. Like, the rapture, I'll just leave them people to their own device. But I've tried to reason that out for almost 15 years with people, but or maybe more now. But the Satan's little season thing, I really just lose my marbles when it comes to talking about this, because I'm like, okay, the river Euphrates, it's slated to be dry around 2030, 2040 at the latest. And we're literally watching that dry up, and it says in the last days that the river Euphrates be dried up. The stars would fall out of the heavens, and the dome, the firmament above would be rolled back like a scroll. I literally can see the sun, moon, and stars in the heavens still. And it's not been rolled back like a scroll. The river Euphrates is drying and parching as we speak. Yet it hasn't been dried up yet. I mean, we can physically see the evidence. See the evidence in front of us. And people's telling me I'm in Satan's little season. Outstanding, guys. Winning. I just, for the life of me, cannot get with this. And so with these things being preached and resounded louder than ever before that I can ever see, we have these imminent doom coming up on us. And not to make it any worse than it already is, but we have a compound timeline issue where that there is a timeline of mankind trying to bring forth all these heinous and wicked agendas. And on top of that, we have a timeline that we know is going to take place, which is the end events leading and culminating up to the return of Mashiach. So it just confounds my mind. And my son told me the other day, I know it's affecting everyone, because it's affecting me in ways that I've never acted in my life. Is that I had this credit card the other day, and it was pretty much paid off. I had just very little on it. And I was like, well, let me leave this behind in case my wife needs it while we're out of town. And while I'm gone, the card would not work for the purchase. But when I got home, it would work. I don't know. It's just how things go. And I got so aggravated, and not at my wife, not really about... I'm not mad at anybody really in particular. I'm just mad that the card wouldn't work when it was supposed to. And when it needed it to, for that matter. Credit cards are supposed to be for emergencies, right? Or don't keep a revolving balance. And so it's like, man... And I got so mad, and my son looked me in the eye, and he's like, Dad, you're just a grumpy old man. And I'm like, dang, I don't want to be that guy. That's not who I am. And like, people's met me. The guy you meet on YouTube right now is the guy you meet out on the street. Like, it's just who I am. If I love you, I love you. If I hate your guts, dude, I hate your guts. We don't have to have, man, I'm black and white here, baby. And it's shown me, though, that many of us have got to be more careful, myself included, about who we are moving forward and what we do, guarding every step we do, because that we are being forced into becoming a product of our environment right now. See, not only are we trying to survive dual timelines, but on top of surviving the timelines, we're trying to survive becoming a product of our environment, because they they're making a situation where the people like me, I just do not see myself, unless it's a miracle by the Most High Yah, I do not see myself alive at the coming of Messiah because of me either being non-compliant to the system or straight up revolting the system and doing heinous acts if needed, because, or what would be labeled heinous acts, for the literal preservation and protection of my own family. Because we're being created an environment around us that things that literally protect our life, like in Canada, for example, they're making people turn in their firearms. I can't never do that. Whether it's here in America, Canada, Bangladesh, Puerto Rico, where the flip ever. It doesn't change the fact that the ability to protect my family and those that I love, I would rather die, bleed out on this porch right here, fighting the military or whoever needed to come take my stuff away, than to willfully go on my knees and beg for protection. I'm not built that way. And so we're being forced into a paradigm as well as that we're having to survive these multiple timelines of things, is that we're also having to survive trying to be the person we want to be, good and decent and loving of our neighbor, being pushed into a position where that the laws of man and these things that are being forced upon us that I can't get with, digital ID, turning in my firearms, taking a stabby jabby, like these are no-goes for Luke. These are no-goes to the point where that if I need to, bad things might happen to people that come to try to do bad things to me. Like, I am a very peaceable person. I have no criminal history. I have no interest in ill will or intent toward other people. I've even volunteered in the past in emergency service work. Like, I don't mind seeing my community thrive. I don't mind seeing my neighbor even do better than me. Good, if you're doing better than me, you're not bothering me, and I don't want to be bothered. Just leave me to my own devices because I enjoy my peace. But we are getting to a point where we can't even have that anymore. So, in closing, I would just say this, is that the more time that passes, it is becoming self-evident to myself and so many others that are children, parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, multi-generational, is seeing this as a whole, that we have no other options left than to hold until relieved. And everything that you have left, you shore it up. Strengthen what remains. Because I have tried to strengthen and make sure that my posterity after me, he has land, dirt beneath him. He has the tools to accomplish what he needs. A home, he is secure. My daughters, so y'all willing to do the same thing for them. My wife and me right now, I've taken measures to make sure for decades that we're good. Because there is a changing around us that the only thing you can do is insulate in yourself right now the best as possible, because the world is changing. It is changing at a most rapid speed that I do not think is humanly healthy. Period. The day-to-day struggles from just commuting to work, to paying for things, to ordering things, to communicating. It is just rapid pace, rapid fire. More than a human brain should have to process every single day. Don't get me wrong. The human body is an amazing thing. It can handle tons of work, tons of stress. But we are treated as a product anymore and not as a human being. And this is so obvious with the replacement of human beings with robotics. Because it's not enough to just drive a man into the ground. Now you've got to make a machine that's like a man and drive it constantly. Not even into the ground, drive it endlessly. And that's where we're headed. And so everyone's seeing this, everyone's feeling this. And whether they are like me and speak out and say this is what it is, this is what it is. It's not Luke woke up one day just thinking this is what it is. It is a clear, empirical evidence observation. And when you're elders, see, I'm getting gray in head, and I also have beard dye on right now, which knocks off a lot of that white. But that's starting to show in me too. And as you age and continue to live, you see these walls closing in, and they are closing in rapidly, friends. So make sure that when you go out the door each day, you remind yourself there's not something wrong with you. There's something wrong with this world. There's something wrong with this age, and that's called it's the end. And Messiah coming back and the kingdom of the Most High Yah coming down to be on earth here with men. Revelation 21 talks about that is the only solution left, because everything else is resist and revolt if necessary, because we are at end game. And believe me, their end game is to end you. And that is something I can't get with, and I cannot get with Satan's kingdom. And so, guys, I hope we all get to break bread with each other in the kingdom of Yah one day. Man, please pray for me that I make it and am counted worthy to life. And I pray that, Master Yah, all those that watch this, please let us all be counted worthy to life and forgive our sins and trespass. I pray in Yahweh's name. I truly hope that as many people that can hear the content that I make and stuff can make preparation and be saved, not only physically but spiritually in the end. And I tell you, it is it's wild out here, folks. And me and my wife just the very last thing I'll say is me and my wife just done a scripture study today about, the kingdom of heaven on earth with men. It's just something that's just very motivational to me lately, to stay focused on, no matter how bad things get, just keep your eyes on the prize, baby. And it is just so reaffirming to me to not be grounded. Like, there's nothing in this world that's precious to me anymore. It is just the kingdom. That's really all that matters. My family and the kingdom is all that matters anymore. If you ask my son that, I'd almost guarantee you that's exactly what he'll tell you. Is ain't nothing more precious to Dad than the kingdom and his family. If you ask my son that, and that means a lot to me, knowing that, because I want them to know for sure, no doubt about it, Dad loves them, and that I love the Father, and because that's all that matters in this end. And it is so clear. I actually, the very last thought to leave with you is I am so grateful the world is dark as it is, as absurd and counterintuitive as that would sound, because it is such a reaffirmation that the word is on point, because we are at end game. If it was never obvious to me, let me tell you, if 2009 the world looked like this, I would have lost my mind. I would have literally lost my mind as I was coming into the truth, because it would have been just overwhelming at how much prophetic things are taking place at once. Thankfully, I had a lot of time to really grease the wheels and get in the groove of this thing, watching it adjust. And I'm so grateful to see it coming to pass and this thing almost wrapped up. But guys, as always, till we see you again here at 7 Trumpets Prepper Channel, keep your head up. Keep your heart focused on the kingdom. And I hope the Most High Yah Baruch you and keep you, make his face shine upon you, show you favor, and give you shalom, my friends. In Yahushua name.